Hi, this is Jenny Brav of Radiant Wholeness Healing. And today I want to talk about hypervigilance, that state of high alert, how you know that you're in that state, what its adaptive reasoning might be, and how to get back to a sense of safety from a place of groundedness and wholeness rather than trying to control and manage the outside world in order to feel a little safer, which really does not work. And I have a couple other videos that I'll link below, a general one on fight, flight, and freeze, a somatic tips one for unhooking from the external, which includes one that I think can be really helpful to swivel out of that state of high alert. So first, let's talk about what the adaptive reasoning for hypervigilance is, because really when we are in danger, physical danger, our survival depends on us getting out of a situation, or when we're children and our caretakers are not really meeting our needs and not attuning to us. Hypervigilance is very adaptive. I'm sure our ancestors, hunter-gatherers, if they were sleeping outside, having some sense of when there was movement of what's around them was very helpful. Any of our ancestors that survived or fled war, persecution, hunger, being hyper aware of their surroundings is probably what helped them survive, have children. That gets passed on. And for many of us in our childhoods, if there was trauma, if there was neglect, abuse, or even not anything as obvious as that, but caregivers who were caught up in their own worlds, busy, not present, not attuned to our needs, then especially in the case of empathic or highly sensitive children, and I think this is the case for most children, we learned to be very attuned ourselves to the people around us and micro expressions that they might have, their tone, just to know and be able to. It's kind of like an internal weather vane that we developed to try to get a sense of the mood of the other person and to predict situations that felt really volatile and unpredictable. And so again, very adaptive, helpful mechanism. However, if it's on all the time, it becomes maladaptive and prevents us from being able to, one, relax, feel a little carefree, breathe. It can block that sense of greater trust. It can block our connection to our own inner knowing, our inner guidance, because all of our attention is out there. And so, how do you know whether you are in a state of hypervigilance? And again, another way of naming that is being on high alert. And honestly, I think often what we talk about as stress is a form of hypervigilance. And not everybody has all of these. So this is really a conversation for you to be able to start tuning inward and identifying the indicators for you, which may or may not be any of the ones that I'm naming. So, one is if all of your energy feels like it's in your upper body, because the hypervigilance is up here. And for me, I often describe it as a danger scanner, and it kind of feels like this. It's like these parts of our awareness that are just constantly scanning for danger, scanning other people's expressions, thinking about the future, about multiple different scenarios. So if there's a lot of mind activity, that's one indicator, especially if you're ruminating about the past, thinking about the future. If there's obsessive thoughts, that's often an indicator too. If you're going over something that happened over and over and over again, chewing on something, that can be an indicator. If all of your energy is in your shoulders, your neck, if it all feels tight. And I say all of your energy, but really it's more the focus because it's not a flow of energy. It can be more like this. So your shoulders are rounded, neck tight, maybe the head is forward, or it could be kind of hide in the hiding position. Ooh, you know, let that go. So those can all be indicators. Other body sensation indicators is if your breath is shallow, if your solar plexus, right where the diaphragm is, kind of this area, if it feels really tight. I know for me, that area often gets really tight and congested, and then the chest also gets either caves in or gets defended. That can be another indicator if you're feeling a lot of agitation, staticky energy, restless energy. One client describes it as alarm bells, if it feels like alarm bells are going off. Those are all indicators that you might be in hypervigilance. If you are spending a lot of your energy worrying about other people, your partner, your kids, your parents, your friends, your pets, whoever it might be, but if you can really feel that your thoughts and your awareness, instead of being here in your experience, are all up in their business, wondering and worrying and feeling into what they're feeling, trying to anticipate their needs, trying to control them and their behavior in order for you to feel like you can finally lean back, rest, be okay. Those are all indicators. All right, that was a lot of words. So I invite you to shake off the words. Maybe take a deep breath. Before we start tapping, I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable and start checking in with yourself. Just noticing what are indicators for you that you might be in hypervigilance, maybe pulling up a recent situation, or the body sensations. Or you can simply ask yourself, how does it feel to me when I'm in hypervigilance? Noticing what happens in your body, where your attention, awareness is. If it feels like you're inhabiting your body, aware of your body. Have you left your body? And you're either all up in your head or maybe not even in your head, but in the danger scanner. One analogy that I often use for this hypervigilance is that of a tree or the leaves of the tree trying to get a sense of safety from managing and controlling the weather, which of course is impossible and will only make the leaves spin in the wind. Noticing what that feels like for you, if there are patterns of thought attached to this. Do you tend to ruminate about the past? Put a lot of your attention and awareness on all the people around you rather than yourself? Is part of you fixated on the future, trying to go through every worst case scenario? Maybe even noticing what happens to your voice when you're in hypervigilance. Is it coming from your belly, your chest, your throat, your head? Noticing what you're believing about yourself and the world when you're in this state. Maybe asking yourself if there was an age associated with this or an age range. When I first learned to unhook from that pure sense of carefreeness, being in the moment, the childlike wonder, the trust, and started learning to be hyper aware of my environment. What age would that be? And it might feel like you had this forever, in which case maybe you came in with this, inherited it from ancestors for whom it was a helpful survival strategy, and therefore they passed it on. Might also be karmic pattern that you came in with. And if nothing comes up for this, that's perfectly fine too. And then asking yourself, how you might be feeling and living your life if you had healed and lovingly released this pattern. You might even call in a wise, parallel, future higher self, however you conceive of it, a version of you that's living from a place of wholeness, of trust, of integration, of energetic sovereignty, and is able to be present and responsive to external circumstances while maintaining some sense of ground within, inner stability, inner stillness that is not so impacted by the external. I'm going to give you a few breaths to stay here, to feel into that. When you're ready, we're going to start tapping. You can open your eyes or keep them closed. And you're going to repeat after me, either out loud or in your head. And feel free to modify the words as needed to more fully match your circumstances. Deep breath. Beautiful. Even though I have this pattern of hypervigilance, high alert, alarm bells, danger scanner, and part of me is so ready to shift this pattern, is so tired and drained from being on high alert 24/7. And this part would like more peace, to feel grounded, to trust. Switching hands if you want to. And another part of me is terrified that if I'm not hypervigilant, something terrible will happen. And believes that this is necessary for my survival. I love and accept myself deeply and completely. whether I'm hypervigilant or not. Good. Deep breath. Tapping all over your head. Hi, part of me that is so tired. Inside of the eyebrows, of being hypervigilant. Outside of the eyes, exhausted. Under the eyes, knows that something else is possible. Under and above the lips, I see you. Under the collarbone, I feel you. Middle of the sternum, I know you're there for a reason. Ribs. Thanks for letting me know that you are longing for peace. Side of the body. To be able to relax, rest, to trust, other wrist, to connect to guidance and deep inner wisdom for safety. Tapping all over the head, breathe. That is my intention as well. Inside of the eyebrows, and for that to be possible, outside of the eyes, the hypervigilant part is needing love and attention. Under the eyes, breathe. Hi, part of me that is so terrified. Under and above the lips, of letting go. Under the collarbone, of turning the danger scanner off. Middle of the sternum, I see you too. Ribs, I know you're scared. Side of the body, it's okay to be scared. Rest. And I am grateful to you, other rest, for working so hard. Head 24/7. Inside of the eyebrows without a break. Outside of the eyes, just to keep me safe. Under the eyes, I appreciate your hard work. Under and above the lips, and your loyalty. Under the collarbone, so much. Middle of the sternum. And you served an amazing purpose. Ribs, you helped my ancestors survive. Side of the body. You helped my inner child feel a little safer. Wrist, a little less powerless. Other wrist, a little less at the mercy of the outside world. Head, breathe. Thank you so much. Inside of the eyebrows. And I acknowledge the part of me that developed this coping strategy outside of the eyes. That was brilliant under the eyes and helped me get to where I am under and above the lips. Breathe. Under the collarbone. And we can hang on to this danger scanner, middle of sternum, the alarm bells. Wrist. The security guard in the neck and shoulders. Side of the body. As long as we want to. Wrist. Other wrist. And the truth is, all over the head, that because our circumstances have changed inside of the eyebrows, this is no longer helping us the way it did. Outside of the eyes. In fact, it's merely recreating the situation under the eyes that it was intended to help with. Under and above the lips, because it is not happening now. Under the collarbone. And so it's possible we can pause it for a moment, middle of the sternum, power down the danger scanner, ribs, and swivel our attention to the here and now, side of the body, reconnect to trust, rest, and safety from being grounded. Other rest, listening to deep inner knowing and guidance. Breathe. Let's pause in the tapping for now. And I invite you to gather from your body in the neural pathways, the back of the neck, the shoulders, the chest, the diaphragm, the belly, the lower back, the thighs that are designed to help us run, that often have aborted flight response in them. Gather all of that, the feeling of having to have eyes in the back of the head, be on guard. And we're going to stack any memories. We don't need to know what they are, ancestral, karmic, in this lifetime, of times when we didn't feel safe, when being hypervigilant might have helped us feel safe, and all the coping strategies associated with it that you had felt into the beginning, whether it's in the mind and the body, it's focusing on others, future, past, just stacking all of that with gratitude for how it served. And we can either just put it down for now if it feels too soon to release it, knowing you can pick it up whenever you want. Or if you feel ready, you can release it to energy, light, sound, vibration, the ocean, the earth, the wind, releasing any cords tying you to that pattern of hypervigilance, high alert, alarm bells. With gratitude for the loyalty, the service, inviting that part to take a well-deserved break. And then closing your eyes if they're open and calling forth, maybe again, if you were already able to access it before, or newly, if you weren't, that version of you that is already in this state of energetic sovereignty, in clear energetic boundaries, in that state of connection to source, to larger knowing, in that state of trust, of interconnectedness. And you might get a visual, you might get a felt sense in your body, hear words or sounds or a song, smell something, taste something. And when you have a sense of this version of you, imagine that you are merging with them. And start to feel in your body what it's like when the hypervigilance has been powered down. You've swiveled your attention from the external back to the internal. And really noticing what that feels like in your body, what you're knowing, believing about yourself and the world in this state. And then wrapping whatever you're feeling up in a color or colors that feel healing, grounding, transformative, bringing all of that into your crown, rewiring the neural pathways from the state of high alert, hypervigilance, needing to get your sense of safety by trying to control and manage the outside world, to this state of trust, of interconnectedness, of inner guidance, of being in your own energetic sovereignty, rewiring your nervous system from fight, flight, freeze, hypervigilance, to that parasympathetic state of rest, digest, of enoughness, abundance, out of scarcity. Bringing all of this into your beautiful heart, filling all four chambers of your heart with this feeling of gratitude, abundance, trust, groundedness, spaciousness, oneness. With all that is. And when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes, sending that up and down your timeline, the lifetimes, the generation. And sending some of it to any people, places in the world that could use the grace, the abundance. And when you're ready, tapping all over your body to seal the healing. Shake it out. Touch something grounding. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me. Let me know in the comments below how that went, what you noticed, what it was like to merge with your higher self, grounded self. And as always, like and subscribe to help with the algorithms. Thank you so much.